There's very little that I'm absolutely certain about. Very little.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't know if there's anything I'm absolutely certain about. You know what I'm saying? It's most things, it's like, that's my perspective right now.
Well, hello there. I'm Dan.
And I'm Can.
And this is the Dan and Can podcast. Welcome back, my friends. Yeah, it just doesn't feel right, friends. Just feels inauthentic.
We're trying to test out different things to, we could be like Danny Gonzalez and just use Greg or like a weird name. Barb. I think it needs to be a woman's name, not a guy's name.
Yeah, okay, sure. Whatever. We can call him Matt. Matthew.
Matt? Why would we call him Matthew? That's it. I just said we need a woman's name.
We call him Matthew.
Because I dated a boy named Matthew?
No.
Because what? I can't.
Your side piece.
That's Michael.
Oh, Michael. My bad.
That the kids made up?
Yeah.
I was like, I have no idea where you're going with this. Do I know a Matthew?
It's not what I say, it's what I mean. So, anyways, before we get started today, it's a special day.
Why?
We are 3 years old.
Oh, happy birthday to us. We should put a cake on the screen.
The Dan and Cam podcast is 3 years old today. Our 157th episode. Yeah. So, it's been a trip. It's been a long trip. And we've come a long way. We've started video here this last year. We've... if we go back and listen to the first few, I think we'd laugh and be like, that was bad.
Just the audio quality... Probably.
Content,
and just the conversation.
The content. Well, the first couple we were on the couch because you had a broken leg.
Oh, yeah. I broke my leg. That's when we started, right?
Yeah.
So breaking my leg ended up bringing something. There's some good that came out of it.
Yeah.
And you started cooking all the dinners.
Anyways. So, yeah, if we listen to them, I think some of them would be like, oh, that's so cute. They're trying so hard.
Well, we're showing people that we can grow and learn.
Yeah.
And we got a long ways to go. We know that, but we've grown, right?
Yeah, we have.
And eventually, we're not going to be in this room anymore. This where our body parts disappear randomly.
Really, really soon.
We've almost got it done.
Next recording or two, we should be in a new studio, and we can start having guests again. Because finding topics on my own every week for the last year has been difficult.
Well, we probably need to sit down and talk about that too.
Nope. We don't talk about things, folks. That's what deconstruction's all about. Just aimlessly going through life with no direction and purpose. But before we get into that today, Candy has a game we're going to play. She's tired of my trivial little games and my messing around, so...
No, I'm not tired of it, but, I'm trying to alleviate I'm trying to balance this out a little bit. You do carry the weight of the podcast, this part, not the candid conversations ones, but...
Some would say that's my calling.
Dan, these are inside jokes.
It won't be when this comes out.
It won't?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is after.
So go back 2 weeks to a candid conversation and you'll understand what I mean by that's my calling. Anyways.
But you're not really using it. In this case, you're taking on more responsibility because that's your calling.
Yes, but it'd
be one thing if you love it and it's something that you really feel like that's your thing.
It's more elevated
than this game. That's going to be a would you rather question. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. This is good.
Is this going to be like the kids?
I don't know. No, it's not going to be like totally obvious like our son does. All right. Would you rather be a Christian again? Though you know it's not true, 100% know it's not true, and you have to live your whole life as though it is, because everybody around you believes it. Okay, wait. Or would you rather be an atheist who has just died and discovered that hell is real? I got you thinking now, don't I, buddy? It's not so quick with the B.
Oh, I know. It's still B. I'm just trying to figure out the answer.
Okay, well, if hell is real, it's a brutal way to live, though, is it, going back?
Yeah.
But if hell was real...
Either way, you're in a hell. You're in a hell of your own making.
No, that's why it's a good would you rather. It's a really hard to like, you're like, actually have to think about it and be like, those are awful options.
But how much of a hell is the heaven that's described by Christianity?
No, I know. That's the point.
Yeah. So that's my other option. After death, I can go up here and sing constant praises.
But you might be, according to Christians, you'd be
upon his throne and be like, oh,
and
you're
sing
so great.
praises, praise and worship music, Dan, for endless time.
Yeah.
Never will it end. You will sing, holy, 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 Lord God Almighty, maker of heaven and earth. Yeah. We are filled with your glory or something like that. I don't remember all the words.
Yeah. That doesn't sound enjoyable either. I think it's a...
But that's not the option. I think I would go with A, as terrible as it is. Wait. No, I wouldn't. Well. And this could make Christians be like, see, it could be real, but it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in misery the whole time. But if hell was real, you wouldn't want to go there, but you also wouldn't want to go to the heaven they've described.
Mm-hmm.
True. So, all right. Yeah. So that's how you'd answer that one. Now let's do one that's
just kind of a lose on that.
And that can happen when a would you rather. Okay. Let's honor the game, Dan. Okay. Would you rather go back to living within a very rigid religious community where all your old friends and family accept you again? Stop it. But you cannot question anything. So they accept you. You're in the group, but you are not allowed to question anything. Or would you rather live completely free and authentic? Okay. Or would you rather live completely free and authentic, but you have to start over in a new place with a whole new community who does not know you yet? That one's easy.
B, we've done it.
Me. I'll get them to know me. Yeah, that one's easy.
We've already lived that trip.
Yeah, exactly. Except for we didn't move to we've had to start a whole new community.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of the people from our old community are still in our lives. Okay. Would you rather have to explain your deconstruction journey to a room full of very skeptical people every week for a year? Or would you rather have to attend one giant family reunion and answer every single family member's questions about why you left the faith? The one is just every week for a year, or just one big one, but you got to answer all the questions they'll have.
Both of them would irritate the hell out of me because I hate explaining myself over and over again. And both of them are going to have the same fucking questions every week.
And they're not going to listen. They're not going to listen. Your answers are not going to change the next question. It will be the same question. You know what I'm saying? They don't adjust per question.
I would go with A because I might actually unalive someone if it was family and they kept bothering me like that.
Okay, but the second one is it's just a giant family reunion. Can you do it for a weekend?
Oh, that'd be a rough weekend.
It'd be a rough weekend and then it's over. The other one lasts a year, every day, every week for a year.
Yeah.
So 52 times.
Yeah.
I think how long? Probably, I will say like an hour. So that's 52 hours versus
48
hours.
Maybe.
But you're going to sleep for 16 of those hours. So now you're down to 32
no, they're
hours.
not going to let you sleep. They're going to keep you up. They're going to go in shifts after you.
That could be pretty brutal.
So.
Okay. All right. That's all my questions. I mean, I could ask more. Would you rather debate your evangelical self about your current beliefs for an hour every day for a week, or have a polite dinner conversation with a well-meaning but very pushy family member? You can imagine your most annoying one,
a bunch of them,
who wants to reconvert you.
I'd do it for the dinner.
Imagine evangelical Dan being like, "What the fuck are you doing, buddy? Get back in that faith."
I'd do either of them because, I mean, debate my old self. I'd be like, "You're such a moron,"
and then the other guy would be like, "You're such a moron," because you'd say that on either side.
That'd be the whole debate, just not back and forth. You're a moron. No, you're a moron. No, you're a bald bastard. No, you're a bald bastard. So, in the dinner, I'd get some food out of it,
but you got to pay for theirs.
No.
And they ordered the most expensive thing, and they're ordering more. They're ordering appetizers and dessert and a coffee and a fancy drinks, all sorts of things.
You can't add shit after the fact. So.
Okay, I'll ask you one more. Let's see.
Fire away there, princess.
Well, some of the questions that I came up with don't apply to you because you weren't raised in evangelicalism like as much as you weren't raised as a child in it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Would you rather have to attend a super energetic praise and worship session every morning at 6 a.m. for a whole year, or have to go to a super formal Sunday school class every single evening for a year where everyone quizzes you on Bible trivia?
God. Kill me now. FML.
You have to pick one.
I'd go to praise and worship, I guess.
Really?
I don't want to. I'd fall
asleep. Because you could just sit there and just kind of like, sing a different song. You could, and if it's really energetic, you could just dance around. You're just dancing for the hell of dancing, and they'll be like, they can't say that it's not like godly dancing. You could just be, I mean, as long as you're not twerking. There'd
be some life to it, but holy shit, the other one would be so just draining and boring. Oh. Yeah.
So,
that'd be,
I would ask myself, would I rather, what did I write? Would you rather wear a super conservative outfit from your church days or from Christianity to a beach party, or have to wear a swimming suit to a traditional, like to an evangelical morning service?
You go to the beach party in jeans and.
No, but more like when I felt like I had to, how you had to be more covered up, but I always dressed like I wasn't like not modern. It just was, I couldn't show skin, or at least when we got real evangelical. It's not, there are some clothes I would not have worn, but if I wasn't evangelical, but anyways, there was a time I remember contemplating getting those swimming suits that cover your entire body.
I would have made so much fun of you.
I never did it, but anyways.
I'd be like, what the hell is that?
You got to be modest for Jesus,
Yeah, well, I'm not Jesus, and I need to see some of that skin.
It's not modest for you, sir.
I need some skin.
Get your eyes out of the gutter.
Yeah.
All right. That's the end of that game for today.
back in evangelicalism, you'd put on a leotard and go to bed, full body leotard.
That is not true.
Be like, here you go.
You actually had it pretty good when it came to that kind of stuff. Okay, move on.
That's our Valentine's Day episode. We'll talk about that.
Is this coming out around Valentine's Day?
No, this is coming around. This is January 28th that this comes out. So 2 weeks from now, we'll talk about our bedroom attire.
Oh, my God. We are not talking about that on here.
No. So, well, let's get into something. This is kind of going to bounce off of our synchronicity is uncanny right now, because I had a topic similar to what we just recorded for our candid conversation 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
So let's dive into this, but I want to take a different angle at it. 2 weeks ago, we talked about
spiritual bypassing, dealing with that and what that looked like in the church world. Mm-hmm. And in that, I think it made, let me rephrase this a little bit. We were always told that our faith was difficult. It was hard to maintain, right? We weren't going to be easy believism. Okay. There was effort that had to go into our faith, right? Well, actually, there's kind of a mixed message there, because it would say it is my burden's light, my yoke is easy, my burden's light, Jesus would say, right? So we'd have to say, okay, it's supposed to be easy, but yet it was anything but easy. And it was supposed to be hard because it's it's the spiritual walk. You're picking up your cross, and, it's burden, it's suffering. And so there's kind of a mixed message there. I don't know if people would have said it's supposed to be hard, but it definitely was implied.
Yeah. And it wasn't supposed to be this easy belief of, it's all done. God took care of it. So
there was always this easy belief. Some Christians, would believe that it's just about believing, which we did. But then we would get accused of that's easy believism. But even those who preached that still demanded a lot of following of the rules, which made it hard.
I'm going to focus more on the practical application of Christianity, because there was cognitive dissonance between the words that would come out and the description of it all, because it's all taken care of. Just give it over to God. He's got it all. You're falling under His umbrella.
And if that's the case, then deconstructing shouldn't even make it go away, right?
Yeah. But
it does, according to them.
But in practice, it was now follow all these rules. Make sure you're doing this, doing that, doing this. So it was, it was like there's some work to be done here.
It was like what's that called when you like hook somebody? Like you kind of hook them with the easy stuff, and then you bring them in, and then it's like it's a trap. Yeah, bait and switch. That's what it feels like.
So in this, I think it was supposed to, in practicality, you thought, man, this is going to be difficult. So there's a lot of things where we thought, oh man, it'd be so much easier to not believe anymore, right? The devil would give
I never thought that.
Well, I mean,
it's interesting because you're coming from outside of evangelicalism, so you maybe had different thoughts of me, because I didn't really think there was options. I thought I had the truth, and there was not really anything else.
Well, when you thought of people that didn't believe, you thought, well, they're just on this easy path, especially when things are going well for them in their lives.
I would say they had more enjoyment. Yeah. They were enjoying because sin was enjoyable for a season, which is a scripture verse. Yes. Yeah. I would say that they had more enjoyment, for sure.
And that it was easy for them to get that enjoyment. It just came. They didn't have to do anything for
the pleasures. Yeah.
Yeah. They
simple
were just
pleasures.
Living in the flesh, and that was given over to them. That was the devil's ways. He's going to make it look tempting and just fantastic. You don't have to do all this extra work that we were doing, and you're getting all these benefits from it. All these rich people that are not believers. Well, that's just easy for them, But the truth of the matter is when we deconstructed, we found out it was pretty easy to be in the faith and very difficult to be outside of it. Because in the faith, it was kind of lazy. It was easy. It was laid out for you. The
thinking was easy. The actions, the behavior, the living was hard. but the thinking was easy. So it was lazy thinking, hard living.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So you had everything laid out for you in the faith, right?
Yeah.
You had all the rules you had to follow. You had all the commitments. You were told how to live, what to believe, how to act, all that. Everything was told to you. You didn't have to think on your own, which when we tie this back to the spiritual bypassing what leads to that spiritual bypassing is, I don't have to think about it. I can shut this off on practical
I don't have to
aspects
deal
of
with
life.
the hard mental things or the hard emotional things. I can just trust Jesus and trust that what I have determined is his calling, or what I have determined or interpreted that he has said, or what my leaders have told me is God's way. I can just believe that blindly without questioning it. I don't doubt, because if I doubt, then I'm questioning God, and that's dangerous. So, I mean, they have created these roadblocks up to keep you kind of contained. Don't doubt, don't question, don't say anything negative against your leaders. Honor your father and mother, which in their ideas is obey, believe whatever they tell you. So you're kind of hedged in,
and you're given tools to be able to deal with the nuances of life.
So now, life's pretty hard in this little box.
So spiritual bypassing deals with them nuances.
Yeah.
Oh, there's this issue coming on. There's a war in Venezuela now. Let's just pray about it.
Yeah.
Instead of to actually think about the ramifications of this, what this could mean for us, what this could mean for our family, our kids, what's going to happen in this.
And think about this one. I don't know who to vote for. Oh, well, when you don't know, you vote one issue. Are they for abortion or against abortion? You vote for the person who says they're against abortion, even if they've probably paid for more abortions than the other person has ever had or even considered. But you vote for them because they, with their mouth, say they're against abortion.
Yeah.
Such lazy voting, such lazy duty towards your fellow human, your civic duty. You're lazy there.
Another one, climate change. Well, we don't have to worry about it. The world's going to be over soon. Jesus
God's
is coming back.
this. He wants to burn it up anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is his plan. If this is what he wanted to design, this is his design. This thing's supposed to incinerate, spontaneously combust upon itself and give over to everything. So you just you're given the tools to make your mind do this, where it's just, I'm not going to deal with these decisions because it's too difficult. So I'm just going to create this spiritual bypass. Thoughts and prayers, give it over to God, lift it up to him. He'll take care of it. Problem solved. All done. So I want to concentrate more on outside of religion, where we went and deconstruct it. Because when we got in there, our eyes were opened on what life was. We had a roadmap beforehand, very clear. This is where you go. We had the guardrails up on the bowling alley. Just keep throwing the ball down there. You're going to hit pins.
It was life was ignorance is bliss in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and it was kind of, even though there was a lot of suffering going on, not going to lie, there's times I was miserable. But
you know what, Candy?
The ignorance.
Just drop to your knees and give it up to God. Okay.
Well, that's what I tried to do lots of times. And sometimes it would work for a little bit.
And everything will work out. And that's part of the spiritual blessings of it, is that your mind will convince yourself that this is working. It'll find the truths.
And sometimes that helps. It helps you survive, especially when you don't know any other way out yet. Yeah. You haven't gotten that far.
It works because you're looking for the signs. And we'll think about people that are very much into end time eschatology, right? Where it's coming to an end. So they're seeing signs all the time. Look, there's wars going on. Newsflash, there's been wars going on since the beginning of time. There's volcanoes erupting all over. Well, volcanoes been erupting since the beginning of time. It's part of the Earth cycle and what it does. There's storms coming all over. These storms are awful and bad. Well, they seem awful and bad because we assign monetary damage to it. And even though 10 houses destroyed today compared to 10 houses destroyed in 1980, that dollar sign is going to be way higher than that. We don't think of it that way. We think, wow, that's millions of dollars. Still about the same amount of damage. Plus, there's more population around, so more things are getting damaged instead of just a cornfield out in the middle of nowhere, right? So,
yeah. So they're thinking a storm is more devastating, but it's not necessarily, or it is, but that's because there's more people, right?
Yeah. So these things are always happening, but these are the proofs that I'm on the right path.
But you could also say those are proofs of climate change.
Yes, exactly. But it depends on where you are, because you're just going to be looking for the examples to prove yourself on it. That's just the nature of what we're doing. We believe this to be true, so I'm going to go and find examples where this is true so I can confirm that with myself, make myself feel better because now I'm right. See, I'm right. This happened.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Yeah. And that is how it a lot of times works instead of like in science. And it's the point of true science is these are happening. What is this an evidence of, or what is going on? Whereas, and that's what you would do, like in Christianity, you would say, we see these signs going on. What could explain it? They just have in their head, Jesus is coming back. So that is what explains it.
Yeah.
They're kind of pushing their idea, just kind of like they do with the Bible. They push our culture, our time onto the Bible, making it say things it doesn't say.
Yeah. They're looking for evidence to prove it instead of letting the world prove to them what's actually happening. Yeah. And we all do it, no matter where our dispensation is, how we see things. We're looking for proofs to substantiate our beliefs.
Confirmation bias,
And that's why this spiritual bypassing works, because we get that brief hit, whether it be dopamine or comfort or whatever, of, okay, God's taking care of it. And then we'll see a couple signs for a few days of, see, it's taken care of. Oh, look, if you go, I'm financially in struggle, help me out with this. And then you sit there and all of a sudden you find a dollar bill on the ground. Like, oh, look, Jesus is looking out for me. It's like,
now, when that happens, I would say instead, there's nothing wrong with saying, oh, like especially if it's out of your control. You're doing everything you can and you need income or whatever. And here this dollar comes and you can go, everything's going to be okay. It's coming. Then you're more open to listening to opportunities because your mind, you've relaxed your nervous system enough to connect around you so that you can see the opportunities, and then the opportunities, you spot them and you can take advantage of them. It's not because of some being in the sky dropping a dollar bill at your feet. It's now you're open to opportunities and you can see them. And then, but it's easy if you are in that state of mind to go, God is doing it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I don't think, I don't know, it can help in some ways when things are out of your control. It really can, but it's not because of a being is blessing you because you're listening. It's because you're relaxing your nervous system so that you can see opportunities.
And the systems over time have learned this and understood this. So that's why they implement these suggestions and ideas. Because they know it's going to be effective to you and you're going to prove yourself that the system's right. And you're going to prove to yourself that Candy's just a floating head on the middle of a podcast screen.
I know. I'm trying to I think
it's the color of your sweater just keeps blended in the background. It's funny. Whoa. There we go. Now we're getting into Valentine's episode. So anyways, in faith, the system knows how to work this stuff and make it effective, prove it to yourself. Because I've always said, if you want to change someone's ideology, you make them prove that to themselves. You lead the breadcrumbs so that they can find the answer. Because if they can find the answer themselves, it's going to stick more than if I tell them the answer. So, and that's what the systems are doing. They're letting you find the breadcrumbs and prove it to yourself that, oh, this is right. This is working and going on.
Yeah.
So let's get into deconstruction and what happens after you leave the faith, because all of these comforts are gone, right? You don't have the path laid out before you. You don't have the rules laid out before you.
The certainty is gone. Yeah.
And in our example, it was almost open chaos. And we controlled it so it didn't appear like chaos, but it was chaos it was just wide open.
Well, we didn't know how to relate to each other necessarily as husband and wife. I mean, there was a time where I said we should just get a divorce to show people that you don't need a piece of paper. You don't need a piece of paper from the government to stay married, because a lot of people in Christianity, it was like, you made a vow. And I'm like, that's not what you should stay in a marriage for, And look, you don't even need that vow in front of the government to stay together. But, that was me just being my silly self. But also like parenting, we didn't know how. It was like, how do we parent with this? That was a big one.
Yeah. So we had to navigate all this stuff beforehand, where before we were given a map, a compass, arrows pointing us in a direction, signs along the way, encouraging people on the side, you're on the right path, stay in here, don't step over here. Yeah. You didn't have to think at all.
Now all of a sudden you got to think, and it can be easier in the living of it, because you're actually beginning to live authentically. And so your nervous system you're not trying to mask anymore. You're trying to mask less and less. But the internal, as you're working through the internal stuff, it can be there can be a lot of junk in there. And that still happens, as you, because I think the spiritual journey keeps going, but the thinking is not lazy anymore. You actually have to think a lot.
And you have to do
critical thinking is important.
You got to do a lot of work on that thinking and everything, because you have a lot of programs that have been established inside your mind, in your subconscious, that are just, you got to remember, the subconscious is there to protect you. And it knows it's been trained to think is safe. So all these old religious concepts that you had that, okay, fall in line here, do this, follow this rule, that kept you safe. Now you're outside of this system, and your mind's constantly trying to push you back. Stay in these rules. Okay, we'll let you explore out here, but stay here, stay here, stay here, stay here. So you got all this work you got to do on your mind to reprogram your subconscious to say, okay, no, this is safe to do now. I can go outside of these parameters. And we still deal with it all the time. We were just dealing with one where we realized that a big thing going on was people pleasing still. Just exposing, like, the example is like, I still have this need to sacrifice time for people that really just want to take advantage of my time because they know I will. And that takes away from people like you and the kids who value my time and want to spend that time with me. And it would be more beneficial there. But instead of going with these people that I know are going to reciprocate the exchange of value and time, I go with people that aren't going to give me anything back for that time. So
because you fear their judgment. And you know the people that love you unconditionally they're going to still be there for you.
Yep, they'll still be there.
But that can also cause problems later.
Oh, yeah. But that was the old religious programming going on. No, you got to be out there for everyone else and constantly winning souls over and just being that person that everyone admires and looks up to, because that's the image of Christ you need to have. Everyone's going to look up to him. So there's still things that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis of, there's another program I have to reprogram, right?
Well, and deconstruction is not, first of all, just for Christians. anybody from a toxic religion of any sort is going to have to deconstruct, but also you're deconstructing white supremacy, you're deconstructing racism, you're deconstructing patriarchy, all of these things, capitalism, the kind of, or like at least, some of the ideas we were taught about capitalism, and it's pretty toxic, I would say. There's got to be better systems. But all these things you have to deconstruct. You have to break the thoughts apart. Where did it come from? Why is it here? Why do I believe it? Do I believe it? All the things. But first you got to become aware it's there. And that's what you're talking about. When we became aware, oh, I'm still doing some old, I still have this habit of, whereas in Christianity, let's say you thought, you prayed for, you want to be patient, right? They always say, don't pray for patience. So you'd be tested in your patience. This is what they would say. Like you're standing in line, you're getting irritable and you feel it. And instead it's God testing you, right? To see if you can. And then you think you're pretty good at patience, right? And then you have an episode where your patience gets tested, which could just have been that you hadn't eaten or you were tired or your system was overloaded and you explode. You have you yell or whatever. In Christianity, your thought would be, I thought I had basically mastered that, right? And instead, life is showing you part of being human is feeling this and then learning how to feel it and, work through those feelings because you're human still. You're not going to be this perfect thing. But in Christianity, it's not, you feel like you move in these levels, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Whereas we're learning in deconstruction, it's just kind of expands out. You learn something, a light bulb turns on, and then all of a sudden that changes how you behave because you think very differently now. And then another thought is affected because of that. And then it just kind of expands and gets bigger and bigger. And then you might find yourself operating under old systems, but it's because you were programmed and you don't shame yourself. There's no, I thought I was just oh, well, I guess we still have some of that we're working on, So I don't know. It's a very different experience growing in deconstruction versus what I would have considered growing in evangelicalism, which was just depending on God more, I guess.
The growing in evangelicalism was a path laid out for you. It was already tread. This is where you need to go. If you're
married now and then you have kids, you're growing.
You have kids and then you become a spiritual leader in your house and then you become part of a church and leadership there and move up and up and up. And this is your spiritual growth. This is how you get there. Whereas in deconstruction, it's, all right, let's figure out what you like. Let's experiment. Let's
becoming more authentic. Yeah.
All right. Let's try this out. Oh, that's not for me. Oh, this is for me. Okay. Let's expand on this and see what keeps going. Another thing I think, and this could be a little tangent to go off of that you just sparked in me. Who knows where this will go. But in evangelicalism, we had the truth. It was the absolute truth. And the world needed to know this truth. Right? So we were commissioned to go out and tell everyone this truth. And in doing that, we weren't going to accept any other thing coming back to us. There was it was a one-way street. No, this is the truth. Well, this is what I believe. That's wrong. This is our truth. And that's
we weren't talking to people. I think what you're trying to say, tell me if I'm wrong, that we would have conversations not to have a conversation where I might learn something.
Yes.
It was, I'm going to teach you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So in deconstruction, something that we gradually got to learn and accept is other people aren't customers or what would we call them in marketing?
What are they called in
marks?
In potential downlines.
Yeah, clients and all this.
Yeah.
What we found was that these people are now resources to us of information and knowledge and growth. So instead of going out and trying to fill other people with what I knew, I was more interested in and trying to be more interested in other people's.
What can I learn? Yeah.
What can you teach me?
What can I learn from you?
What's your perspective on this? Which opens up a whole new avenue of things in the world. Because
that opens up a lot of wonderful things, because there's so many things to learn.
And it
everybody's different.
Destroying some of these isms that we've had, racism, patriarchy.
It breaks down walls. Yeah.
All that, because give me your perspective. So if I want to go out and talk to an African-American person, and just honestly be there, like, let me know your perspective on this. We both go into this situation. We both walk into a grocery store. How do you feel in that grocery store? Because I know how I feel. I can walk around freely. I can put stuff, I could have my hands full and stick something in my hoodie pocket and not worry about it. How do you feel if you were to stick, I
don't feel like you could do that, but okay. I would never do that. But, that's scary.
I wouldn't feel like I'd be stopped at the door, or someone's going to be like, hey, or if I was stopped, I could get away with, oh shit, I forgot about that. Here, let me go back and pay for it.
That's probably true. That part's true.
Do you feel that same way as a minority in this country?
Yeah. I think a minority would probably, someone who, they would probably feel like, no. And there would be way more risk of being.
Just getting into that person, hearing their way of living, how they have to live, their perspective on life just opens up like, holy shit, really? That's happening to you? Okay.
And it helps you have more compassion and empathy for somebody. Yeah. Like, oh, I didn't even, like, that's something we don't ever think about. Like, it does not cross my mind, the color of my skin, when I go into a place.
Yeah.
I don't even think about it. And yet there are people that have to think about the color of their skin and be very aware of it. And that's wrong. We shouldn't have to think that way. And it's not, they're not wrong for doing it. They've had to do it to survive. Yeah. But we're in a society where we need to deconstruct that, where people don't have to think of the color of their skin when they're doing anything.
So it makes you be more of a learner and more invested in other people to actually learn from them. And I know from the faithful position, people are like, well, then you're just going to be easily swayed by whatever you're talking to at that time. I'm like, not as much as you are.
Like you'll just believe anything?
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what we used to think, right? If you open up your mind enough, it's all going to fall out.
My dad used to say, don't be so open-minded that everything falls out.
Yeah. So they think, well, if you're going to take everyone's opinion and try to listen to everything else, you're just going to have all this information and you're just going to go back and forth to whatever you heard last. And we know,
but it's not like,
we know more Christians that are actually like that are wishy-washy and sway back and forth, because you confront them on difficult topics of, well, what if your child was gay? Or what if your child came out and said they were trans? How would that make? Well, no, I'm not. No,
my kid wouldn't, because I'm not raising him that way.
Yeah,
like as though it's, and then they do have to face it a lot of times, and it's like, now all the judgment that you placed on others, where you said they were bad parents and you thought they were, not godly or whatever you said to yourself, now that judgment falls on you because you'll feel it. That's why you shouldn't judge others, because now all of a sudden you're in the same situation or something very similar, and that judgment that you were placing on others is now fully on you, and you will feel it because of the way you were judging until you let go of the judgment.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of Christians that get kind of wishy-washy and going on this. What we're saying is that we're developing this thing a lot of people haven't heard of in a while until they start deconstructing, and it's called critical thinking. And it's the ability to take in multiple aspects
points of view,
any one subject matter, and weigh it out and see what holds up to, scrutiny. So I can listen to someone on the right and someone on the left talk about the same idea and be like, okay, what you're saying is really not making sense. I've seen practical examples of what you're trying to say fail miserably. But I've seen what they're saying hold up a little more. I'm going to lean more to what they're saying, because that seems to be more practical.
And it can also make you go, okay, I hear what you're saying over here on the left. I hear what you're saying over here on the right. And I kind of think it's something in the middle. I don't think it, and I don't think all people agree with the people on the left, or all people who claim to be on the right agree with everybody on the, or what you're saying on the right. So what we're saying, I think, is that there's room for nuance. You learn how to balance that nuance and hold space for nuance. Really, in Christianity, there was so much certainty that there was no room for nuance.
Yeah.
Now there's a whole lot of nuance because there's very little, people will say, well, so you're saying there's no absolute truth. I think truth, like truth that is unshakable, it is true no matter what. You have facts. There's facts, right? Like gravity.
Yeah.
There's gravity on planet Earth. You could argue that it's not called gravity because that's the word that was labeled for it, but there is a force of some sort that pulls us to the ground, right? If we try to jump off of it, we're pulled to this larger object. So those are facts. But when it comes to like a universal truth, there are so few. It's probably that there's just one. We're all connected, something like that. But everything else, like a perspective is not a truth. It's that person's truth. So when we were in Christianity and people would say, oh, my truth, we would get so offended by the phrase my truth. Like the person is making up no, it's just what they mean by that is my perspective. From my perspective, this feels true. This feels the way it is.
That's funny.
And that's a true, everybody's perspective is different. Just because you believe something is true, that shows a sign of self-awareness when you can notice other people's, you can hold space for their perspectives and recognize that it's just as valuable as yours. It's just as true to them as yours is to you.
Okay. So with that being said, I just pulled this up. It was a comment I received today, 1 hour ago, on my video I put up on YouTube last night. And I can't remember what it was about, but this comment, this all sounds great, but you need to know how to choose what influences you. You need rigidity in many things in life. Much is black and white. The best ideology I have found is good and evil, and the only thing you follow is truth. That is very narrow. Open to everything always leads to no place anyone wants to be.
Okay. So first of all, even Jesus is like, what is truth?
Yeah.
Because like, what is it? Define it. What's the truth? Truth has to hold true no matter what.
Yeah.
So like, it is true that gravity exists. Like no matter what I try to do, I'm going to be pulled to the ground. You're going to be pulled to the ground. Whether I believe in it or not, it will hold true. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what truth is. Whereas, their idea of like God, they will say that that's truth. There is no way to know that for sure until you die. And I guess that's how they snare you too, because then it's like, you can't know. And so you better bet on the side, just be safe rather than sorry.
Well, if I wanted to be safe, then I would believe in God, Yahweh, Muhammad, Buddha.
Yeah, you just believe in all the things instead of using critical thinking where you're like, okay, I'm willing, if it's true, I'm willing to be convinced that it's true. Where's the evidence?
Yeah.
Show me the evidence. And if God, in all his loving mercy towards humankind, which is preached at us all the time, if that was true, then he needs to make it very obvious to people who have asked for it, because there's plenty of people who have asked for it and he
gave
hasn't.
us the banana candy.
It's been engineered by men to be
the perfect fruit that proves God's existence.
Okay.
According to Kirk Cameron.
Was the name Ray Comfort and Kirk Cameron?
Yeah. But so, there's so much nuance in the world and everything. Even then, if that comment I just read, there's like everything's black and white and good and evil. So that's how you operate. Well, there's a lot of things that are evil that every now and then could be good, because it works in this circumstance where, all right, I needed to do this. Most times and more times than not, this would seem like an awful thing to do, but in the long run, this felt like the right thing to do here. So, it's the whole, the thing they always like to use was the train conductor that had the switch on the track or was operating the bridge, and his child was on the bridge, underneath it, and he knew the train was coming with 500 people on it. So he had to choose between sacrificing his child or the 500 people. Well,
but he's the one that invented the train. He invented the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's supposed to be God and Jesus on the track, right?
But either way, there's an evil that you have to perform. But that evil is going to be for the benefit of the good over it, right? Because taking a life would be evil, right? Black and white, that's evil always. So you can't do either. Well, do I save the one for the many?
Yeah.
Or do I save the many for the one?
Yeah.
And so there's nuances in everything. And sometimes things that are generally good all the time can be really, really evil. You know, a lot of things in life are good until they become evil. You know,
I would say
the internet's a good thing. It was good.
But it's also communication a bad thing.
On here. But then you also get creepy guys that look a lot like me on the internet in their basements talking to kids on Minecraft and Roblox, right?
I don't think you should say look a lot like me. I know what you're saying, but you don't do that. Like, I just want to be clear. He does not do that.
MAGA. If I walk down the street, people would be like, oh, he's just missing his red hat.
People assume you're MAGA probably without knowing. Yeah, I would say.
So there's nuance in everything. There's no black and white. There's no right or wrong, good or bad. It's most of the time
almost everything is.
But there is
very little.
Yeah.
And everything can be used for good or evil. The Bible has been used for good to help people, and it's been used for evil to hurt people. Like you said, the internet, abortion can be evil, but it can also save a life. Mm-hmm. You know, of a mother who is the baby.
Now because there's a lot of mothers to be that swore up and down that this was the greatest thing to get rid of abortion, that now all of a sudden are like, well, wait a minute, my life's in danger.
Yeah, when it affects them, that's when instead of thinking about others and how it might affect others, because they're not self-aware, they don't realize that others have experiences that are different than theirs. And that is something we all need to understand, and not using stereotypes where, oh, if you've experienced this other person, then all of the people that look like you have experienced this. This is their experience. No, everybody has a different perspective. They overlap in some areas, but we all have these unique. So it's just, we need to stop trying to regulate one another with rules and actually build communities where we get to know one another. And a lot of, it takes a lot of work though.
Yeah.
When there's nuance, you got to get to know somebody. You can't just judge them by their cover. You got to actually get to know them. You got to get up close to them. You can't just say, how they used to say really terrible things about gay men. They would assume they were all, doing very improper things to children, which wasn't true, but that got spread around. And so then people, someone would say they were gay, it was just clumped in that. That's what you're doing. Or when we were just not a few years ago with drag queen story hour, anybody talk about drag queen, they were like grooming children. And it's like, wow, it doesn't take much to get you guys just going. The masses can easily be swayed, honestly. But in deconstruction, true deconstruction, you begin to think. You begin to go, I wonder, first of all, what the truth is here. What are the facts, basically? What happened? Then you can start, you know what I'm saying? Like, was there really people doing drag queen story hour, dressed in really skimpy clothes, talking about sexuality to children? No, they were reading stories to children, and they were dressed appropriately. They were dressed in, dresses and stuff, They weren't dressed. They weren't trying to sexualize children or anything. Yeah. So that kind of stuff is like, no, we actually think more now. We use critical thinking. We have discernment. Is this good, or is this being used in an evil way? Is this useful or beneficial to someone, or is it unbeneficial?
And that's kind of the point of the whole thing, is that in deconstruction, there's a lot of mental work that has to go on. You have to actually think now where you didn't have to beforehand in the faith.
Mm-hmm.
It was all laid out. It was spoon-fed to you. You didn't have to do any thinking. But now I want to be well-rounded and well associated in this planet. I want to make sure that I can do my part to make sure that everyone else has an equal chance in this world. What's that mean? I got to do some critical thinking. I have to get to know people. I have to learn from people. I have to gather information and take and form my opinions and beliefs based off of that, and not hold so rigidly solid to them beliefs either.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding that as more evidences are presented to me, that can sway how I view certain topics or ideologies or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm. And my mind can be changed, that I'm going into a situation or a conversation instead of with certainty, like we did as evangelicals, like we know the truth, they don't, right? You go in with curiosity. You can't be curious and certain at the same time, about the same thing. It's there's very little that I'm absolutely certain about. Very little.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't know if there's anything I'm absolutely certain about. You know what I'm saying? It's most things, it's like, that's my perspective right now.
Yeah.
But I hold it loosely because it can be changed.
This is where I'm at now, and if something comes up and presents itself that can convince me otherwise.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I think kind of can wrap this one up because I think you're getting hungry because I'm getting hungry.
And my nose is I need to blow my nose.
If you look back at it and compare the two, there's a lot more mental work that needs to be done in deconstruction because nothing's laid out for you. This whole new world opens up to you. And it would be easy to plug yourself into another system that's going to lay it out for you. So you have people that deconstruct and all they do is they jump into another system, whether it be politics or something like that.
Because it's easy.
Yeah, and then you don't have to think. The tough part is laying out your own path and trying to figure it all out for yourself and understand it. And you're trying to get a personal perspective but build that up to a grand local perspective and worldview eventually, so that everyone can if everyone in the world could see things the same way instead of having these walls put up for them that, no, this is how you need to think. Well, let me figure it out on my own. We're smart enough to do this. We can do this.
Yeah. And if we all just allowed people to have their own perspectives, but understood everybody else has a different one, and that's okay. Yeah, it'd be a much more beautiful world.
Yeah. And you're actually
and as long as you're not harming yourself or others, you do you.
And you're not blowing off people with spiritual bypassing. You get to know people, you get to understand them. You're not going to sit there and go, well, I'll pray for you. You're going to be like, okay, let's work through this. Let's figure this out. Okay, there's got to be a solution or a path to get onto that can get you,
or maybe
where you want to go.
You come up with somebody you could, hey, we need to talk to this person. Maybe they will know, and they have some information for us. Or you begin to like come alongside them and help. And you get to decide when you do that. You don't do that for everybody because you're not meant to do that for everybody. So you don't have to people please endlessly, but you can decide, like, is this something I want to get involved in? And if it is, then you can put yourself in that space instead of, you don't have to say thoughts and prayers to everybody because that's what Christianity is. Oh, thoughts and prayers. I did my part. Instead of picking the one thing or the one or two things that you really want to put your focus in, that's where you do your volunteering. That's where you do your learning, and that doesn't mean forever. At this time, that's where you're investing. And then maybe down the road, you invest somewhere else, you have your time and your energy and stuff. But I mean, that would be a much more beautiful world. And, we're not above like doing that. I think for me, when we came out of conservative politics, I swung all the way left. And I was like, just straight down the line voting left. And I know that I don't think that's the way to do it, because that was still lazy. I wasn't wanting to do the thing. Oh, they're probably, and no, there's some corruption going on over there too. We have to be thinking. We have to think And that there's no way around using our brains, but we have to get the skills to be able to think critically. Yeah. And that does naturally come if you take the training wheels, or what you said, the bumpers. If you take the bumpers off, you're going to have to, because you're going to get hurt. You're going to experience it by getting hurt or hurting somebody, and then you straighten out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You're going to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, and you're going to get reprimanded. But that doesn't mean that they are right and you're wrong. It means, do I want to have that experience again? Does some people don't like it when I do that? You know, you learn. Yep. And you learn how to be more yourself and be resilient as yourself. So a whole lot of good that comes from deconstruction.
Yep. And I think the ironic thing of it all is that when you start operating like that, you actually become more of a Christian.
More Christ-like, yes, definitely, for sure. Yeah, I would say we are much more Christ-like today than we were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anywho, if you're listening on to YouTube, go ahead and give us a like, follow, and subscribe. We'd appreciate that greatly. If you got a moment, leave us a comment. We do respond to all our comments. We giggle out of it, like the ones I just read to you, where I'll have to explore this guy's mind a little bit. If you're listening on a regular podcast streamer, Apple, Spotify, whatever, give us 5 stars. We'd appreciate that greatly. And if you got a moment, leave us a comment there too, because we'll respond to them also. And if you're curious on more stuff that we're doing or what we got going on, go down below. My lights are too bright. You can't see my fingers. Down below. There we go. We got all our links down there. DannyCan.com is the main one. And then Candy broke out a few others to be a little shortcut to some of the stuff she's doing. And she's doing her little experiment on YouTube right now.
Called Devotions for Deconstructing, where I'm comparing 3 devotion books. 2 of them are Christian, and one of them is just a spiritual one. It's very human-centered, kind of universal spiritual, and just kind of showing the mindset that is created. So it helps you kind of see, first of all, you're not crazy for leaving Christianity, because you can see the toxic beliefs that kind of run underneath what the words are that are being said too.
Yep.
The implications that those words have. Some of it's just outright disgusting to read. There's a lot of self-erasure in one of these books, and I'm just like, wow.
So, yep, go check all that out. We'd appreciate it greatly. But other than that, y'all have a lovely week, and just understand that deconstruction isn't the easy way like you're told when you're in the faith.
Yeah, you're not taking the easy way with deconstruction at all.
Yeah.
No way.
Think of it this way. In the faith, you had a nice groomed path laid out for you, wood chips on the ground or nice little soft pedals, signage pointing you where to go. This direction now, easy grades. In deconstruction, you're just dropped in the middle of the forest with a machete and said, all right, cut your path.
Okay, yeah. And before we leave, I want to make a note on what you just said, because we're talking about the thinking here, right? It was the thinking was easy. But wouldn't you agree in Christianity that when Jesus said, my yoke is easy, my burden is light, you didn't feel that? You were like, this is hard. Yeah. This is a hard life. It's drudgery, basically. And now the yoke is easy and the burden is light because you're being yourself. You're not trying to be somebody else. So there's a lot of just beauty in that. Like, it's that part's easy. It's the thinking and learning and stuff where you have to have the hard conversations, but it's not physically hard at all. It's physically easier on you, but it is emotionally and mentally, it takes more. You're exercising your brain. Let's just say that.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
So good point.
Anyways.
All right, friends.
Still working on a word. We'll figure out something.
We'll talk to you later.
Yes. Go out and do something good for yourself and the world.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.